All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shemel, Shabbat, Shemel, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the occupied that push your word and sincerity of the truth. It's your brother Balls off from Great Millstone, Atlanta. And I just wanted to go into some in the spirit of just really keeping your head up. Pray for basically better days. Even though we're in a time of suffering and things of that nature, you got to aspire to push forward. This thing and the thing of this truth is about progressing and not letting yourself fall under emotional and a depressive rut. Because when you fall in that spirit, it's hard to get out of that spirit. And then as the saying goes, when it rains, it pours. So when one thing hits, it seems like a storm of other things starts to bombard you. And then when you're down, a lot of reactions that a lot of men give off is not wanting to get up again because they're scared to get knocked down again. So they stay down and basically lay down to the point where everything starts to roll over you, and you get steamrolled over, and you have no type of motivation. You have no spiritual drive. You don't want to do nothing. You don't want to leave the house. You don't want to exercise. You don't want to eat healthy because you see anything that you involve yourself into, it starts to everything starts to become come with the spirit of adversity. And the thing is, that's how things are set up. The adversities and the stress, that's what activates your fight or flight. That's what activates the man in you, and that's what puts you in the mentality of getting up and going that much harder. And that's why you have the brotherhood, because when you're down, the brother beside you, his main job is to keep you up in the spirit. Because some brothers, they be going through it, man. We all do. Whether you lose your house, you may lose your car, you may get thrown on child support, lose your woman, lose your children. You might fall under a sickness, may get injured, whether working a job or trying to do anything. And when you get stricken or getting bit by that snake, so to speak, you start to feel low. You start to feel low. You feel enabled, you feel disabled, and you feel unable to accomplish that which you're putting your heart and your desires towards. So you start to retract, and you basically fall in the shell of scaredness, and you basically pull away and tug away from your growth. But that's what, when you go forward, you gotta realize that that's what shows that you are growing. Because with anything, any obstacles and any stumbling blocks that's set before you, you pushing forward and running into those, that's showing that you're actually pushing and getting steered towards the right direction. And it's your job to persevere, to endure hardness, and to go through these things so that the straight gate will be open to paradise, as it is written in 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter. All right, so I'm going to start in the scripture in John 16 and 19. Now Yahushua knew that they were desirous to ask him, and said unto them, Do you inquire among yourselves of what I said? A little while, and ye shall not see me again. And again, a little while, and ye shall see me. Verse 20. Verily, verily, I say unto you, that ye shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice. And ye shall be sorrowful, but your sorrow shall be turned to joy. Right, and we're in a time where we're weeping and lamenting, and that prophecy had to come to pass throughout the elect, throughout the Israelites, the brothers that's in the spirit of Yahweh, Shemel, Shabbat, Shemel, Kakodash. It's required for us to lament, mourn, and sorrow, but at the latter end, our weep shall be turned into joy. And those things build integrity. You being down, you actually experiencing your lows, experiencing base points to humble you, so that when you actually receive the blessings, you receive the benefits of everything you went through, you'll learn to truly appreciate it, because you went through a particular suffering to apprehend or obtain that which you actually sought for. So, brothers that go through these things always know that those are all gauges. Look at everything around you as a measurement and a gauge to your progression. And don't get fearful of the ceilings or the thresholds that you're breaking through, because the more you grow and the more things you progressively pass, the harder your spiritual route is. The harder, like when you play a video game, the basic The basic level is the easiest level. All right, it doesn't take a lot of skill. You know, you could basically hack and slash your way through depending on the type of game, the style of game. But when things start to get more intermediate and advanced, that's when it starts to become way more mental in the game. So it takes mental and it takes physical technique in order to master that game and to really overcome it. And then, of course, with video games, in most cases, you fight bigger and more skillful bosses that the hits hurt like hell. You know, they damage your hit points. You know, your hit points drop down low, and you have to dodge and evade as much as possible and defend yourself and actually knock your enemy down effectively, whatever boss it may be, to overcome. And it's the same thing with the spiritual demon Satan. Satan is a boss. All right. You know, the word boss goes into the word master. He has mastery, or he has jurisdiction over this particular realm. And he sends these little minions, these little demons to fuck with us, man. Whether it's the petty demon, whether it's the demon of depression, like I said, whether it's the demon of anxiety, whatever spirit that's pulling away from you or pulling at you, and that's making it where it's hard for you to gain and constrict, and is looking to constrict your growth, that's an actual spirit. It's an actual vibration that's trying to weigh you down, but you have to lift those weights. You have to overcome the obstacles that are set before you. But continuing on, it says on 21, a woman, when she is in travail, have sorrow because her hour is come. But as soon as she is delivered of the child, she remembered no more the anguish for joy that a man is born into the world. Right. So when a woman actually is pregnant, she has to go through the series of labor pains. And all women will speak about that experience the pregnancy, that the labor pains are horrible, man. You know, what they have to go through to actually bring forth child into the world. Like it says right here in the scripture, it's all kind of travail and sorrow. And a lot of it's mental, you know, a lot of it's emotional, and it's physical. You know, the physical pain that to actually produce a child, man, is you know, words can't explain. But the aftermath of what they actually produce, words also can't explain, because it was worth the pain, it was worth the suffering, it was worth everything that she went through, because she actually has brought joy into the world through whether a man or a woman child. So it says, and ye now therefore have rejoiced, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man take it from you. Right, and it's the same guidelines actually pertain to the kingdom of heaven. We go through so much hell that you sometimes get in that spirit of not understanding. You don't understand the things that you're going to receive for all the hell that you catch, and you start to feel like you may be getting picked at and things of that nature, which the truth is, you are getting picked at. The Lord is picking the elect from the bunch of Israel, and he's sending them through a series of tests and temptations to try their faith, because those are going to be the top candidates to rule the new world, man. In the kingdom of heaven, you have to be gridlock. You have to be battle ready. You have to be war ready. You have to have mental perseverance. You have to have all these aspects in order to rule, in order to govern the world. All right, it's not just gonna float. The kingdom of heaven is not just gonna float in your lap. The Lord wants to try each and every one of us to see, all right, is he worthy? Is he worthy of ruling? Is he worthy of actually, you know, basically being in the seat of a leader, being in the seat of an elder or a master teacher, whatever, you know, the Spirit puts out, a priest or bishop, you know, and you have to go through those series of tests to see if if you actually qualify, and if you actually pass those tests, then hey, the kingdom of heaven is for you, you know. But this is Sirach 2:1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptations. Right, and that's the series of tests and temptations, which the spiritual demon Satan has rights to throw those things at you, you know. And even myself, what inspired me to do the lesson is something I just went through. I don't have to go into the details, but you know, brothers catch their particular hell. You know, it's not even that important for me to express it, because we all go through our things, man. We all have our personal sufferings. You know, you may express things to brothers in your camp and things of that nature, but no, if one brother's going through it, we're all going through it. You know, some brothers, like I said earlier, they have their own particular demons and their particular hell that they're going through, but they're serving the Lord, and they have to embrace the temptations that come with the service. All right, verse 2. It says, set thou heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou may be as increased at thy last end. That's what it's about. You know, the straits is the beginning of the path. The beginning of, like Scripture says, the end of a thing is better than the beginning. So when you first walk through this thing, you know, and as you progressively get closer and closer, it gets harder and harder. The afflictions get harder. The weights and the burdens start to weigh on you more and more. And you get to a point where you don't know what to do. But that's why you have to pray. You have to go to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You have to acknowledge your faults. You have to acknowledge your shortcomings and let the Lord know. Because guess what? Who's the one that created those shortcomings? Who's the one that made you deficient? You know, the Scripture says, "Be ye perfect," but the Lord knows that we're imperfect and we're looking to become perfect. The Lord is the one that afflicted us, whether through infirmities, whether through, the hell that we're catching. He actually has, the rite of passage, and he uses forces. He's not the tempter, of course, but Satan is basically in subjection to the Lord, and it's all for the growth and the development of oneself. So it says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Right, so when you change to a lower state, just know that at the end of the day, you're going to go through low points, but at the end of the day, you're going to go through highs also. So take your lows, embrace your lows, and wait patiently for the Lord to bring you up in due time. All right, because that's a state of humility. When you're brought to a lower state, then the Lord is humbling you. All right, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire and accepted with men in the furnace of adversity. Right, so we are looking to be that gold, and we have to get these sediments, the dross, basically the smudge and all the dirt, grime out of our spirits. And the only way to get it out of us is through sufferings and basically catching an immense amount of hell. But at the end of the day, we're going to shine through the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and we're going to all be basically essence of honor. Scriptures speak about how you have vessels for honor and vessels for dishonor, and we look to be those vessels for honor, so we have to go through those series. We have to go through the particular sufferers to actually get to that point. But that's really the main thing I have for Akim. I just wanted to throw out some motivational words for brothers to keep your heads up. You catch your hell right now, the Lord is gonna bring blessings your way, but you have to go through these things first. So I want to end by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Shema Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom Akim.